A very good afternoon to everyone who is present here for today's online session on NISP, National Innovation and Startup Policy. And we have our resource person, Dr. Sangamesh. And to tell in brief about Dr. Sangamesh, Dr. Sangamesh B has completed MTech in Energy Engineering and PhD in Mechanical Engineering from VTU Belagavi. His area of doctoral research is development of a novel cooling system used for electronic cooling applications. As visionary professional, he served in academics, incubation-linked intellectual property management with overall 8 years of professional experience. He has established numerous industry academic partnerships and collaboration with foreign universities. His research interest includes renewable energy, nanotechnology, heat transfer, energy, and environment. He is an educational columnist in print and electronic media. He is State Joint Secretary of the ISTE Karnataka section and also a founder trustee, Samanvita Trust. He is currently engaged in planning, implementation, and monitoring of incubation activities at BMSIT and M. He is also a mentor for NITE Incubation Center, supported by Atal Innovation Mission, Government of India. So we welcome you, Dr. Sangamesh sir, for today's session, and also I welcome all the participants and hope you get something out of this, this webinar that is being conducted by IIC, BMSIT, and M. Thank you and welcome again. And over to you, Dr. Sangamesh sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for your brief introduction. Can I go ahead? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, I think the presentation is also sharing with the
Yeah,
people.
it's
Yes, sir.
visible, sir.
Yeah.
So, thank you. So, very good evening to all of you who have joined us uh, through various social media platforms and on internet. So today we will be talking on national innovation and startup policy for students and faculty of various higher educational institutes across the country. And this is the draft policy which is being drafted in the year 2019 after the Startup India policy which is being launched in 2016 Jan. So basically, my presentation for the today's sessions will going to be on background and various other startup India initiative which is being taken up by the government of India, and just to set the pace, and I'll be also talking on the startup India initiative which is going back to the NISP 2019, that is National Innovation Startup Policy for Students and Startup. Before that, I'll be just talking on the general the innovation and entrepreneurship culture in the nation, and also will be focusing. I will not be going to be talking a very detailed discussion. Will not be doing in the NISP 2019 because the document there's a 32-page document which is ready, which is available in the internet. So very finer points and the key highlights and aspects of it, NISP 2019 will discuss. So that is how actually I have planned, and the proposed model for the ecosystem and the sustainability point of view will be discussing in my last slide. But before that, just I wanted to set a pace that we know that all of us maybe we are working, either we are a faculty or students who are studying or working in higher education institutions, that any policy which is going to be come up, which is going to be come out, either it could be education policy that recently which is being hosted by Ministry of Education, that is National Education Policy, or it can be science and technology policy which is being launched by Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, or it can be the latest one that is very sensitized and every day it is making a news, or pharmaceutical. So I mean to say that any policy which is going to be, which is supposed to be come out, it should incorporate the aspirations of the users or aspirations of the customers, I could say, are based on the past. That is reflecting the past and responding to the present and reforming to the future. So that is the how any policy which is supposed to be comes into place. But that is more or less that is going to be from the past. So in the same scenario, NISP 2019, which is being taking the key highlights of the AICT startup policy, which is being just launched after the startup action plan, that is in the month of November 2016, after the launch of the startup action plan, that is in the month of January 2016. So before that, before we begin to the Startup India action plan, we all know that there is a much discussion and debate which is being taking in the society, that there's a lot of changes in the higher education. There's a I mean to say होलिस्टिक एजुकेशन की बात चल रही है, और देयर इज अ कैटलाइजिंग द क्वालिटी रिसर्च की बात हो रही है, और also there is a much discussions on bringing back the research component into the pedagogy is also very phenomenal and being discussed in the society. And also there is a much discussion which is happening that never had happened before. That is, I would say, some 5 years, maybe some half a decade. There's a much discussion which is being going on the innovation, entrepreneurship, and all that. So this is basically earlier, if you look at the education system in the country, it was restricted to pedagogy, that is academic. But later on, there was a much focus which is being given to research, and hardly the publications were only the measuring criteria for, or that is the end output of any research or academics. But later on, in the last half a decade, what next after the lab? What is the output of the lab? So even though we are working in different segments of research and all that, but what is the output? Is it going to be the publication is going to be the output? Then what next? If it's just going to be come out as a in terms of articles, journals, publication, all that, but what is the next? Even in this aspect, the government is also aspiring and thinking in that direction. And the way the government is going to be think is differently, entirely different from the previous this thing. As you can even notice here, that in the state of Karnataka we had VGST from last, I think, so it is started somewhere around 2010 to 11. So till then, 2019 or 2018, it was only on the merit, or only the ad stick of giving the funding, or all that was only the research or the publication. But if you look at the last VGST proposal, I think many of you, I think, seen that what is the innovation, what is a product, all that is being placed in the funding mechanism. So I mean to say that there is a lot of emphasis which is being given in the last 3 to 4 or 5 years after the launch of Startup India 2016 action plan. So in the similar way, even the science and technology is also, there is a lot of changes in the quantum of funding and the volume of funding, and the way the fund was being distributed and all that. So it is entirely a win-to-win situation for the institutions, at the same time government. So government is also behaving like a private entity, and revenue based, that is an equity model it is referring. So no more the grant, the fund it is going to be given to in the grant mode, it is going to be in the equity based, or it is going to be, based on the socio-economic regions, or by involving other branch of other institutions, sharing the resources, all that. So I mean to say that uh, there is a lot of even change the mindset of the government, and although also the higher education institutions across the country. At the same time, after this pandemic, we all know that there is a even the students of even first standard, second standard now are playing, or going with the mode of teaching which is being become, drastic change we have seen in the last 1 year. And and today's students of first and second standard are using the laptops and other electronic gadgets, tablets, and tabs and everything. So can you just imagine if you just take the education system in the same way which we have done previously? We cannot even imagine it. In order to face them, maybe they are first standard, second standard. By the time they come for the higher education in the next 10 years or 15 years, probably the way we need to change, or I mean to say, we need to tune to the technology and adopt cross-cultural learnings has to happen and all that. So this is also one of the this is one of the key initiative of the NISP that which is going to be which is going to be implemented in the higher education systems. So this is, if you look at the past, the startup policy which is being launched by PM Shri Narendra Modi in the 16 January 2016, and this was most of you have got confused that whether it is a scheme or whether it is a policy or what is it. So basically, the startup action plan it was a single point of contact for the entire ecosystem. It is not either the policy nor the scheme. Many of you think that startup, the moment we heard the name startup, there is a something called funding or grant or some benefits and all that. But startup action plan, it is a single point of contact for the entire ecosystem, which is being launched by the Narendra Modi in the year 2016. So after immediately when 2016 it is being it is being launched, only the four states which were adopted the policy. But after the launch, there were 14 states which is adopted which adopted the policy as it is in the format of the Startup India action, right? So this is a drastic change we can see after the launch of the Startup India action plan. So if you look at also after implementation of this policy, as you can see here, drastically it has got changed. And in the Global Innovation Index ranking, we have been placed 81 in the year 2015, 66 in the, so gradually it is being increased. So that is what we can notice after the implementation. So many of us may be having some doubt or some confusion that how do we define a startup? I mean to say whether any private firm or any company can be called as a startup, or whether the startup is different from the company. All that maybe few of you having a doubt. So startup is nothing but it's a any entity which is going to be either private limited, limited liability proprietorship, that is LLP, or it can be a partnership firm. But except the single proprietorship or single owner. So any company can be called as a startup if it is 10, if it is a 10 years, less than a 10 years old, then we can say it's a startup. But it is supposed to be, of course, it is supposed to register with the DIP and various other agencies, that is Ministry of Corporate Affairs and Commerce and Industries and all that. So there is a some sort of procedure which is supposed to be adopted. But anything which is less than 7 years of date of incorporation, if you have with either private limited, LLP, or whatever, we can call that as a startup. But of course, 10 years, which is going to be, which is being given for biotech, because the biotech companies needs, a lot of technical trials, and need to have laboratory research and all that. So 10 years being given for the biotechnical company. But anything other than biotechnological companies, either it is private limited, LLP, or any form, that should be 7 years, lesser than 7 years. Then we can say it's a startup company. And turnover, if you look at the turnover, any company can be registered under the startup, which is must not exceed the a, a total turnover of 25 crores in any fiscal years, or 5 crores of the net profit. So that is a turnover point with respect to its turnover. And the nature of innovation, it can be it need not to be it can be without patent or with patent, or it's anything which is existing, which is anything which is developed new, or any service offering company, all that. It is nothing like it is supposed to be restricted only if you have the uh, uh, patent, whether it's a patent or patentless, also can be come under the startup. So this is with respect to the uh, with respect to its definition. So recognition procedure, earlier it was very long lengthy procedure to recognize as the company as the startup, but now it is being very simplified, and within a 2 days of a time, I think we can register for the startup. That is by giving the details of founder and team details, entity details, business model, and if you have in case IP details. So if it is suitable, if it is fulfilled all the criteria, it is going to be approved within the 2 days of time. If it is not, it is going to be sent you back for the necessary changes and reapply. So that is with respect to its the recognition procedure. And in order to encourage startups, earlier there was, I mean, back to 2014, if you just go, they used to ask you the annual turnover, uh, uh, deposition which is required, and the experience in that segment and all that. There used to be submit all the information with respect to that. But in the 2018 and onwards, it is all everything it is going to be exempted with respect to its government procurement. For example, any startup, if you just registered, the next day itself you can just participate in the purchase or vendoring in any government procurement. That is one best thing it is being done from the startup India. That is otherwise you need to submit the experience, turnover, deposition, and all that used to be done earlier, but now it is in the very next day you can just go and participate in the procurement process. And patent, very fast, the patent liberalization is being given for the startups to file a patent, track the status, and hand holding support for till you just get the grant it is going to be given to you. So that is that earlier it was a time consuming, and now it is very fast, and also tracking system. And of course, when you say the startup, the moment we say startup, the very highlighting point is the tax benefit. Of course, income tax exemption is being given in a the different mode, where that for the first 3 years of the registration of the startup, you can just exempt the tax on the net profit whatever you are going to get. So I think that's the best thing what they have done. So usually any startup to register in at the initial stage or the growing stage, normally they face a lot of problems. So there must be a given some breathing point for them. So under that, a tax benefit is being given under the startup policy. So at the same time, self-certification is essential. Earlier, you used to give the clearance from the labor, environment, and forest, and all that. You're supposed to give the physical inspection has to happen and all that. But now it is self clearance, self-certification is enough for clearing the compliance of the startup. At the same time, earlier there used to be, even though if you just say if you attempt a failure in the business, if you just wanted to exit, that it was not so easy to exit, even if you wanted to close the business. So it required more than a 3 to 4 years. But now within a 3 months, you can easily exit and close a business and come out. So that is also one of the finest point of the startup policy. And of course, there's a 10,000 crores of corpus fund which is being created under the CB, and even with the participations of DIP, SIDBI, and with other VC funds and all that. So this is not in terms of a grant; it is in terms of giving you the money to grow and succeed and rebate, and taking the money back, either in terms of equity or royalty, or it is going to be in terms of interest on debit, or so all that. So it is not a free money which is going to be given to you. It is on the repayment has to happen. But what you can just notice here is 10,000 crores corpus is not a small amount to give, because the whole model of the this funding is to handhold and support and grow win to win, based on the win to win situation it is being created. And one more thing to add to this is, for example, any common man, uh, he has got some money, or rather than keeping it FD, if you just wanted to invest on the startup, so there also you can get the tax benefit. So I mean to say that maybe crowdfunding or small funding and family funding or VC, angel investor, whatever, if you just wanted to put your money onto startups, you can also get the tax benefit out of it. So that is also one of the major thing which is being done under the Startup India action plan. So of course, this all I have discussed, that other than that, there are several others benefits also being given, that is public procurement norms that I have already discussed with you, patent. So even if you just wanted to, if you just registered with the startup, 80% of the rebate which is going to be on filing, 50% rebate is going to be on trademark filing, and all that is already well, we are all aware. So of course, the facility, in order to create a facility and handholding support, they have created a 24/7 supporting system. So even whatever the query which you are going to make it, so within the 48 hours of that, it is going to be resolved. So even to most of the time, sometimes 5 years or 5 to 6 years back, if you just wanted to register a company, it was taking like to get the clearance from the MCA, it was you may need a time of 6 months, but now I think within 1 month of duration you will get the clearance and all that. So handholding support which is being extended by the government of India, and easier compliance, as we know that, as I was mentioning, labor, environmental laws, and if it required forensic or forest, any laws which is being simplified, and just self certification is enough for registering the startup. There is what with respect to tax exemptions. So now this is with respect to startup registration, exemptions, benefits, and all that. So now based on this, after immediately launching the Startup India Action Plan by the government, the AACT has come up with its own startup policy, that is after just few months of this, that is in the same year, that is 2016, but in the month of November. So after that, but that policy was done on a fairly basis, but it was not social policy. So I mean to say, for example, policy is different and guidelines is different. For example, AACT gives you the is a body which you cannot deviate from the policy, but if you just adopt, you cannot be able to deviate from the guidelines, or you cannot be able to deviate from the rules regulation that is being done. But this is the policy, I would say. I will not call this as a policy, but I will call this as a social policy, because you can customize the policy and adopt it. It is not that you need to adopt it in the same form. You can also customize, because driving the ecosystem from industrial background is different, from the corporate company is different, from government is different, and from running through a higher education or university is different. For example, this NISP is going to be implemented in the higher education institutions. They can leverage the pool of mentors by utilizing their own faculty and their alumni as the mentors for the startups. For example, if you wanted to run an ecosystem through corporates, they can leverage the contact, that is corporate contacts, and they can attract the funding, that is CSR fundings. But driving from government point of view, they can have their own branding, and the reflections or looking at the ecosystem is going to be different from the government as the host institution. So I mean to say that, so NISP can be it is it will not say that you can just adopt the blindly, you just adopt the policy, but You can customize it and based on your requirement, based on your locality. For example, driving the ecosystem being in placed in tier one cities as like Bangalore, in a place like Bangalore, which is IT city, IT hub, science city, technology city. We can fairly work on the rental model. Even though if you have just have an ecosystem or if you create a facility, you can give the startups can come in and come into the incubation center as a on a rental basis. Even that works very well with respect to tier one cities concerned. But tier two and tier three city, you cannot dependent on the rental model. They have to work on other. I mean to say that there is no single recipe for driving the ecosystem. You cannot define it in the same way. You cannot drive it. So different methods, different benchmarks we need to adopt. So that is the reason I'm calling this as a social policy. You have the provision to change here and there where it is required based on the host institutions, as I told you, whether it's a corporate, whether it's a university or higher education institutions, whether it is a government. So based on that, based on considering the strengths and weakness, locality in which we place, we can just customize. So this policy, after referring to the AICT policy which is being implemented, the first draft which has come in the year 2019 under the able leadership of Professor Ashok Jhunjhunwala. He is a professor from IIT Madras. Under his chairmanship, the policy is being drafted. So it is being launched in the year 2019. So if you look at the ecosystem, the if you look at the as we know that India is a democratic dividend country, and at the same time, if you just also compare the age distributions of the startup which is being founded, it is in the between 31 to 45 years is 44%. So somewhere uh, it is going together, I would say. The government and the stakeholder of the ecosystem is somewhere it is mapping or going together. So that's the best, there is a right sign which can indicate. Even if you look at the stream wise, engineering is graduates or PG graduates are 50% and MBA is 25%, others is 25%. So if you also look at the total number of students we have founded as of now, as per the 2017 data, if you just look at it, is 450 plus, and this is expected to rise very drastically and gradually in a consistent manner, in a manner in the next days to come. So also there is a drastic change. Even there is a largely increase in the female participation in the startups, that is 11% as per the 17 data. Of course, there is a little more enhancement which has happened in the last 2 years. So this is with respect to the NASCAM data, and if you look at the ecosystem, there are around some 50,000 plus startups which is being registered after the Startup Action Plan 2016. So that is a change which the country has seen. So there is 50,000 plus startup fairly founded in the country. So, I will not go in detail about the NIPS 2019 policy. Very fine points, key highlights of the policy I have taken, and just I will bring to this presentation. So, uh, that is the more NISP, as we heard that it made a very sensitized news in the news that it is giving a semester waive off for the students. Faculty, and there is a sabbatical leave, all that it is being placed in the policy. So basically it based on the 10 key highlights, it is being prepared. It's a 32-page document. So it says the strategic governance as startup enabling institution infrastructure, nurturing the innovation and startups, product ownership rights, human resources and incentives, creating the pipeline and or the pathway, and norms for the faculty startups, and also there's interventions of the entrepreneurship development, collaboration, and also finally the assessment. So based on the 10 key points, it is being drafted. So as it started with the vision and mission of the mission. So as we know that in order to create any business or any entity, it should start from the vision and mission, because it keeps you more focused, not deviating from your objectives. So that really helps to grow. So it starts with defining the vision, and also it tells you that you need to hire a dedicated team that is a head or in charge or coordinator or CEO, manager, whatever. But he should be any policy which is going to be adopted by the higher education institutions should hire a full-fledged person who is supposed to be having an immense passion on innovation and entrepreneurship, and also she should able to give the hand-holding support to the startups without becoming a founder of the company. So that is the price quality of the coordinator or the manager. So you should hire a dedicated team for that. Not only it can be one or supporting staff or anything, which depends on the on the quantum of or magnitude of the ecosystem. So also it tells you for the that 1% of the total annual budget of the institution should be kept for NISP, that is startup activity, that is 1%. For example, if you just annual turnover of the institution is 10 crores, then you can just keep it 10 lakhs rupees as the budget for the innovation and entrepreneurship development. That's a very fantastic point which is being highlighted in the policy. It is not that it is only can restrict to 1%, it can be even more than that. And if it is engineering institutions, it can be more even. So it is different for different institutions. So, but minimum 1% of the total fund should be kept it for the startup and innovation activity. And also they can look for external funding, CSRs, and alum donations and all that. So the promotional activity is going to be leveraged in the institutions in order to inculcate the culture of the entrepreneurship and innovation across through variety of programs such as um, hackathons and entrepreneurship awareness camps and idea uh, idea generation and all that. So variety of programs can be promoted in the institutions, and also it can we need to have formulate the action plan for the NISP in the higher education institutions. Uh, and also it gives you the essence of the international partnership, that is that really helps for cross cultural learnings, and because collaboration is the key for success, to support and sharing the resources and all that. So it is also talks about the strategic international partnership under the startup infrastructure. So any higher education institutions, if wish to adopt the policy, they should create a, a favorable or flexible environment, and facility is going to be created in order to induct the startups and to induct the startups and support them in pre-incubation and incubation facilities. And also that tells you to form a SPV formation. So for example, if you wanted to create an ecosystem, and simply if you just drive that really makes some conflict of interest between the institutions and the startup ecosystem, because almost all higher education institutes run under the trust or the society. But driving because you will be collecting, it will be tough to when you are collecting an equity from the startups. It is going to be not wise decision if you just run simply creating an entity. It is should be a special purpose vehicle is to be created in the institutions. It can be Section 8 company, or it can be trust, or it can be society. But more advisable is the Section 8 company. Section 8 company, because it is compared to Society Act and the trust, it will have more control. It will have more robustic uh, uh, transparent systems in terms of giving giving or uh, uh, sorry, the in order to connect to the MCA and all that. So they're very flexible. In terms of flexibility is concerned, in terms of regulation is concerned, control is concerned, transparency is concerned. SPV is the best suitable for driving the ecosystem. That is Section 8 company. So that can also be in order to make it sustain. We cannot be able to depend on the in the financials which is going to be collected from the higher from the host institutions. So better which can be offered with mentoring with small fees, or can be offered with equity, or even zero fee. That depends on the level of support which is being rendered by the system. So also that also give suggest you to have the accommodation for entrepreneurs in campus. So for example, any entrepreneurs who are going to incubate at your institutions, you need to provide them accommodations. Even those student startups, they wish to have accommodation. So accommodation facility is going to be created under the in the host institutions. With respect to its nurturing the startup culture in in the system, it gives you one or two very finer points that a student who wish to work on the startup, he or she can use the college address for registering the company or formation of the company, and they can also work as an intern or part time for the startups, and there should be some attendance waiver should be given for 6 months, or even it is up to 1 year. That is, or sometime also can take the one semester or year break, and that institution has to give the support and consider their absence as working. Even this applies for students. This not only just applies for students, even for faculty, they can be considered as sabbatical leave and all that. But in return, they can take they can share the revenue with the institutions, or they can take the equity of 2 to 9% for students, and 20 to 40% for faculty. So it is going to be a paid leave for startup has for a person who is running the startup. Of course, the person who is having a startup and who is also going to be a faculty in the institutions, he can play a role of director or founder, but he cannot be take a managerial role. For example, he cannot become a CEO of the company or manager of the company, but he can be act as a founder or director or all that. So they can go for sabbatical leaves with paid leaves and everything. But at the same time, so there will be a chance of it can be 6 months or 1 year. So there should be formation of a committee with internal and external team, and in order to evaluate them, in order to give them the leaves, and to have the track of the students and faculty. So all that that can be monitored with the formation of the committee, with either any senior faculty uh, can be a part of that, or can utilize external people who is having the background of startup and innovation and entrepreneurship. So this is what actually we say. But at the same time, they also say that even a student or faculty who wish to join for a part-time or full-time MBA in PGDM or on innovation, entrepreneurship, and venture development, if you wish to join, recently the AICT has come up with a very a business course, that is a PG course, that is in innovation, entrepreneurship, and venture development. If any faculty wish to join for the course, uh, they 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 have to allowed to pursue the course. Even students can go for can take for seed funding, linkages to the VCs, all that. The ecosystem should create a facility so that they can just talk to the industries and VCs, angel investors, funding raisers, and all that. So that kind of that kind of favorable environment is supposed to be created in the campus. And also, of course, domain-specific mentors, in-house and external mentoring should be given on a on a uh, on a request on a mentoring in-house mentoring is going to be given in a 24/7, and even if it is required, an external domain-specific mentor is going to be can also be facilitated to the startups which are going to be hosted by students or even external startups. So we can also use the you can leverage the institution department inter-institutional linkages. For example, the BMS education institutions also drives which also has got the sister institutions law, BMS law and all that. So we can utilize the resource of the law for the legal entity, for legal anything legal which you wanted to utilize. You can extend the support from taking the other institutions. So also it talks about the in terms of it product ownership rights. So for example, most of the students who invented the institution may ask you to have the patent in the name of the institutions. So so inventor has to share the patent with the institutions. But if it is supported, the institution is supported either in terms of filling or in terms of giving the uh, giving the giving you the all kind of facility they created. Of course, the students or the faculty can even share the IP with the institution, but without any support, that depends on the level of support that is going to be rendered by the institutions. If it is only just giving you a space to work on, definitely there's a not good to give the policy ownership, sorry, product ownership right to the institution. So it depends on the case by case to case. It is depends. It depends largely on the kind of support it is going to be rendered to the institutions. But more or less, if the facility is being created by the institutions and rendered, or the support is going to they have supported or handholding given the handholding support, then of course there will be no dispute in giving the ownership. So at the same time, one-time technology transfer fee has to be facilitated. If it is facilitated, then royalty of 4% should be given on the net profit on the product. Okay. So again, with respect to shares in the company or SPV may be required to hold equity. So as I was mentioning, in order to hold the equity, it is a not wise decision to hold the equity for any host institution. So better if we can create a SPV, so it will be easy to hold the equity, and that can be utilized for growing the both incubator growing the incubator or any startups. So with respect to its product or IP will be entirely owned by inventors if non-usage of higher education institution facility is concerned, as previously mentioned. So, as I was mentioning also that a five-member committee has to be formulated at the institute level, so that any dispute on the product ownership or equity distributions or to sanction the leaves, to give the semester waive off or academic attendance waive off and all that can be monitored with the committee which is going to be incorporated in the institutions. So of course, most of the institutions have the IPR cell in order to facilitate the IP filing, registration, evaluating the the support which is going to be given to you till it is going to be granted. The same time, that also talks about the individual research and publication on the startup and entrepreneurship. So now, since it's a very last, it is just 10 years of it's a 10 years old. I mean to say it's entirely a new thing that the startup and entrepreneurship culture, which is being adopted in institutions. So fairly, if you just have a team which can focus on research, publications, or any journal articles and all that can also be promoted in the institutions. That is also being discussed in the policy. At the same time, the human resources and incentives also being discussed, So we know that the incentives, anything which is going to be in the form of incentive for either a student or faculty, not should be it should not be a punishment kind of thing. So most of the time they should be leveraged, just the higher ups, you should not be, most of the time you just do publications, do startups, all that, but without giving you the liberty to do work on and give some relaxations in the load and all that. So it's very tough. So human resources is going to be should be utilized in a more productive way, and award them, give them the incentives, reward them on the for the startup spirit and innovation. So all that has to be also be equally important. Not only just adopting the policy is not sufficient to grow, it is also equally very important that to give a time to the faculty and students to utilize the resources of the institutions and come up with the products, IP, USBs, and technology transfer. All that is going to be come up only when you leverage or when you give the relaxation in terms of academic workload, in terms of giving you the facility, all that. So that is the reason it clearly mandates to have a full-time coordinator, either a full-time coordinator, or you can depute any staff with a background of innovation and entrepreneurship with prior experience. But if you just depute, you should relax the workload. So that is also one of the key aspect, and strengthen the coherence and cross-cultural learning has to happen in the institution. That is one thing, and also we should develop the incentive and reward mechanism should be initiated in the institute, and also the working durations for the startups and entrepreneurship should also be going to be considered as an experience, or should be considered for the performance based appraisal systems and all that it tells you. So in the another way, that also it creates a pathway for innovation and entrepreneurship. That's a clear, crystal clear pathway. It is being defined in the policy that outreach activity should be largely done in the institutions. That is in order to have the cognitive skills, develop the other cross-cultural learning, such as maybe having big data or artificial intelligence, posing a 1 week sessions on for other than IT and all that. So that is also one point it is being related, and also of course we need to have a corporate incubation program, workshops, trainings, project facility charge, project facilitation center, and a lot of brand building activity has to happen. At the same time, rapid prototype development facility need to be incorporated. So all that. So even in addition to that, a networking event should be created, or networking event should be organized in the institution. So with the students, so that students can easily talk to the industrialists, uh, or working in the same domains of interest. They can access to their networks and all that. So networking events also should be in bit, and at the same time, they have also come up with a few norms for the faculty startups. So faculty startups, as I was mentioning, they can they can become a founder or director, but they cannot become a CEOs or manager. That is what it very clear. It's very crystal clear from the policy. So uh, the, any faculty startups can be stated as a faculty startup when it originated from the institute. For example, if you just originated from here and if you just showcase it with the other institution, that doesn't going to be considered as a faculty startup. So it should originate from the own institute. So the role of faculty, as I was mentioning, it should be a owner or promoter or mentor or consulting or onboard member, but he cannot become a managerial post or executive post. You cannot hold it. He or she cannot hold. So policy and conflict of interest to ensure the regular duties of the faculty. So of course, that also tells you that so your regular duties should not affect or should not suffer keeping or balancing both can be managed. So a faculty startup can even not only just faculty, or it can be a mix of students or faculty itself, or institutions, or collaborating with alumni can also be a partner. So they can give sabbatical leave without pay, utilize the existing leaves, sometimes that is ELs and all that. So also, one more important key highlight of this is that it should distinguish the ongoing research of the institutions. For example, some research which is going to be ongoing in the institution, the same area of the startup should not be. There should be some distinguish. There should be different from other. It should not be same as what the current projects which are going on in on campus. So that is one thing which is being highlighted, and also providing the news again. So and also any faculty we are supposed to have the startups should not involve any research staff or any staff of others, any staff or any faculty, any students of the institutions, until and unless there is some until and unless there is some regular engagements in the startups. That is also one of the key highlights which is being introduced in the policy. So with respect to its pedagogy, that also tells you that in order to have in order to inculcate the culture of the entrepreneurship in the institutions, you should have innovation and entrepreneurship award every year. So in order to reward the spirit of the startups and innovators, so that also can going to be hosted by the institutes. And also a lot of case studies on business failures and real life experience reports should be formulated, because most of the times the students may come up and say we have this, we have built a app, these, that, everything they say, but normally there will be a very they always neglect the market research, and market research component is completely is going to miss. So you need to judge them, you need to just assess them whether it is done addressing the whether it is any having any existing gap in the current existing market, or whether it is having whether it is fulfilled the pain points of the customers, whether they have gone to the customers, address the pain points, whether they have incorporated the voice of the customers and all that. Uh, uh, so all that it is going to be, we need to pose the questions to the students when they come and say. For example, one of our students, they said, I had given him a chance to work on one such area. He said, "So, sir, I'm not interested. I'm interested into developing a software which works on locating the uh, Xerox or printing stores." So I said, oh, the idea is fantastic, but where is the value capture? What is the value creation? Where is the value capture? What is the unit price? So the business model is normally which is going to be missing in the student startups. So we need to so that is the reason we need to give them a case studies of the failure, real life experiences report, generating the reports on the real life experience and all that should be taken up. So at the same time, entrepreneurship education through some introducing the elective courses, or introducing some short term or long term courses for 15 days in a semester, or that can also be done. And also they also say that induction program can also be conducted on highlighting the importance of the innovation and entrepreneurship. That is also talks in the pedagogy and interventions for the entrepreneurship development. So also collaborations and co-creation and business relationship, it talks about, as we know that collaboration is the key aspect for in order to succeed for any startups, that we should encourage the co-creation, cross-cultural learnings has to happen in the institutions. So that is going to be promoted with the NIST. And of course, internship, teaching, research exchange programs, clubs, social gatherings also need to organize, must be organized in the institutions. So At the last, at the end of the policy, that it talks about the assessment. As you know that if you assessed, that really helps us to grow, sustain, and success. So because that tells you where exactly we are and where we wanted to be in the next 5 years or 10 years, and whether we focused, whether we deviating from others. So all that really tells you when the startups or any entrepreneurship or any venture is going to be assessed periodically. So in the same way, the assessment has to happen. The assessment has to be on various ad stakes. It can be number of startups created, number of products which is being developed, number of technology transfer which happened, number of training programs being conducted, project number in terms of facilitation, facility creation, and also the impact of assessment can also be in terms of sustainable, societal, and in terms of revenue generation can also be measured. So this is with respect to the policies concerned. That is National Student Innovation Policy for Students in Entrepreneurship. So one key example, just I would like to share this, that he's a Professor Manjunath. Professor Manjunath is working in an engineering college in Bangalore itself. In one of the, I think few of you may also know him. That he has come up with this startup called Humus, that is connecting the customers, that is directly to the farmers, that is the AgriFresh supermarket which is being invented, and it is very well it is very well company which is being founded, and he wished to expand it robustically and in a 10 such out 10 such supermarkets throughout Bangalore. So that is one of the just example for any faculty who wish to have their own venture. They can also there's a scope for it. I mean to say there is a scope for it. Even the same startup which is being founded by Professor Manjunath, again, it's a Royal Brother company, Royal Brothers. It's the first of its kind to share, or first of its kind to have the Royal Enfield bike for rental mode. So that's the first of its kind in the country. So these are the two companies which are own faculty being founded. So proposed model, if you look at any ecosystem, it is supposed to be developed or nurtured. These are the four key highlights in which we are supposed to work in. So one is to attract the, or one is to induct the startups. We need to create a lot of quality startups. We need to induct. In order to that, we need to organize startup fest, startup foundation workshops, boot camps, idea pitch competitions, hackathon, and various other activity. At the same time, we need to utilize the other social media platforms, by creating a very attractive promotional videos and floating them in the social media and all that. So this really helps us to attract the quality startups. That is one way. And once you onboard the startups, there should be once you identify the startups, in order to induct the startups into the incubator, you need to onboard them, and you before we onboard, you need to evaluate them in terms of their novelty, value creation, value capture, and based on their USV and team strength, execution capability, and all that. And with respect to its business model and unit economics, all that we need to consider while onboarding them into the ecosystem. So at the same time, they should create the facility and give them the handholding support in terms of physical support, in terms of effective mentoring with the utilization of the faculty as a mentor, or connecting them to the domain specific mentors, networking them, connecting them to the market, and solve the problems with respect to its legal, IPR, and accounting. And also, you can utilize your accounts department or legal institutions of your own institute in case if it is available for startups. So at the same time, funding and scale-up activities also should be also given. That is in terms of in terms of seed funding, connecting them to the any other interface agencies such as DST, DBT, MIT, and whether DSIR, AIMS. Not only limited to these, but even many interface agencies. Each of the ministries have come up with their funding support and all that with respect to diverse area, so that we can really leverage, and also we need to have the we need to have the commercialization and technology transfer unit we need to have in the institutions, and also easy exit for the startups also should be in place. So this is with respect to model, the same thing which is being just in order to onboarding the startup, there's a fee chart. You can just explore it uh, this is the model in which we can index the startups in order to have the quality startups, whether it is accept or whether it is rejection, and all that can be done fairly on this model. This is a common model which refers by all the incubators. Of course, sustainability of the startups is more important. It can be equity or equity model. As I was mentioning, equity works very fair. It fairly works for a tier one cities, but tier two and tier two, three cities, it cannot be on the rental mode. Uh, uh, so rental mode which really suits well for tier one cities, or it can be even equity model. It can be interest on the bet, royalty, and all that. It can be some few other mentoring, consulting assignments, and you can also charge some co-working fees and rental. Also, you can generate a small funding through workshops, training programs, and all that. And also, you can also be a part of corporate incubation and acceleration programs, and by taking some small amount of management fees. And also, we can have the consulting assignments. For example, you have a 3D printing machine, you can just by developing the rapid prototypes, and you can work on the service fees and all that. So in additional, you can also look for any grants from central and state government agencies, whether it is GST, BARAC, NSTDB, DSR, MSMEs, and very fortunately, we in the state we have a Kitwin Fund, KCTU, and Mudra Yojana, women empowerment schemes, and we can also attract some CSR funding, alumni donations, and corporate sponsorships, and all that can be taken up. So this is completes my presentations. Just I'm open for any queries or any questions to ask from the uh, audience. Thank you. Any questions from the audience?
Please let us know if you have any questions.
Hello,
Madam?
sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, please, sir.
Yeah, I'm Vinod Kumar from Mechanical Department in Canberra Engineering College, Mangalore.
Okay.
Nice presentation, sir. Thank you for presenting. One question that I have is regarding we are planning to set up EDC in our college. Is it
Hmm.
mandatory that we need to link it through AICT and get the approval from AICT and do it, or through college
No,
directly can we do it?
sir, having a ED cell in the institution, it did not to be have the it did not to take any permission either from the AICT or any bodies. But of course, you can take the uh, uh, in order to make yourself sustainable. You can take the help of NSDDB for your entrepreneurship development cell, so that that helps you for more visibility and all that. But that is the only option which is going to be there for you to have the ED cell with the support of NSTDB. but it need not be taken it either from AICT or any other mechanism.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Do you have any other questions from any other audience? So you can always get back to Dr. Sangamesh. Here is the email ID of his and also his phone number, and you can contact him anytime if you have any further questions. So I guess we will wind up the session, sir.
Yeah, sure.
So thank you for your thorough presentation on national innovation and startup policy. It was a great session. You had a complete uh, roll up and roll down of all kinds of the NISP startup policy, which you call yourself as a social policy, which means how you could customize the policy, which we didn't know. And thank you for the enlightenment. And you also spoke about how it is how being cross-cultural and inclusive and outreaching activity would help to develop such kind of national innovation policy at the institutions. And these are some of the insights what you gave us, and it was wonderful session. Thank you so very much for your time, and thank you one and all. And I will be posting the link to give the feedback. Please open the chat room and go ahead. Please give us a feedback on how the session would be. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Sangam.
you. Thank you, madam. Thank you. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you, one and all. And please get in touch with us in case if you have any questions. And you have Sangamesh's email ID and phone number for further queries. Thanks, one and all.